He heard it, the frightened, desperate neigh of the horse trapped within. That cry pulled at him like nothing else could. His thin wooden legs stumbled forward, oversized feet dragging against the dirt as he hurried toward the barn. The orange glow grew brighter, flames now licking at the dry hay stacked near the side. Heat pressed outward and sparks snapped into the air like fireflies turned cruel. The wooden creature raised his long hands to shield his eyes, his slouched posture now tense with urgency. There was no time to hesitate. He had seen animals in danger before, caught in traps or struggling in storms. But this was fire. Fire that could devour everything in its path. Fire that could consume him too. His very body made of polished wood was vulnerable to flame. Yet he pressed forward, his heart, if he had one, pounding with determination. Somewhere inside that barn, a horse was waiting, terrified, calling for help. The creature stepped into the burning light, ready to face the danger. The wooden creature pushed forward, the heat already licking at his wooden arms like invisible claws. His droopy brown eyes squinted, and his expressive mouth twisted in determination. Sparks danced around him, hissing in the night air. He paused at the wide barn doors, which were half open but partly blocked by a heavy fallen beam. The dry hay stacked inside had already begun to smolder, filling the air with thick gray smoke that poured into the sky. Inside, chaos erupted. Chickens flapped wildly in the rafters, their wings stirring up clouds of dust and sparks. Cows stomped in fear, their bodies pressing against the wooden barriers of their stalls. But louder than all of them was the desperate neighing of the horse, a sound of fear and urgency that carried straight into the creature's wooden chest. He hesitated. Fire was his enemy. He knew it instinctively. The very thought of being swallowed by flames made his wooden frame tremble. Yet his long thin legs carried him forward anyway, dragging his oversized cartoon feet across the dirt floor of the barn. His curved eyebrows furrowed with fear but also with resolve. Inside, the smoke clung to everything. It wrapped around his cylindrical body, blurred his vision, and made every movement feel heavy. The horse was visible now, a powerful brown animal thrashing in panic near the back of the barn. Its rope tether was twisted around a beam, holding it in place as flames crawled closer. The wooden creature raised his cartoonish hands, waving to get the horse's attention, his wide eyes full of empathy. The horse's frantic movements slowed for a moment as if sensing hope. But a sudden crash shattered the fragile calm. Part of the barn roof collapsed, sending a shower of flaming splinters to the ground. The creature stumbled back, his wooden body rattling with fear. A flaming shard landed dangerously close to his foot, and for a second he panicked, swatting it away with his long hand before it could burn into him. He realized then that he could not waste a second more. If he hesitated, the barn would collapse entirely, burying the horse and perhaps himself in fire and ruin. Stretching his arms as far as they could go, he reached for the heavy fallen beam at the doorway. His thin wooden limbs strained, bending awkwardly under the weight, his slouched posture tensing as if every ounce of strength in his odd body was being summoned. Finally, with a groaning creak, he managed to shove the beam aside. The doorway was clear enough now for escape, but first he had to free the horse. The horse reared again, pulling violently at its rope. Its eyes were wide, white rims showing with raw fear. Flames snapped closer, licking at the hay piled nearby. The heat grew unbearable, but the wooden creature pressed forward, slouching yet determined. His expressive mouth moved as though whispering calming sounds, even if no words carried over the crackling fire. He reached the horse, who stamped its hooves dangerously near his oversized wooden feet. The creature flinched but did not back away. His droopy eyes locked with the horse's terrified gaze, and for a heartbeat, the chaos around them stilled. It was a silent promise. I will not leave you. The rope was the next obstacle. Twisted and knotted tightly, it clung around the beam with stubborn strength. The wooden creature's long thin fingers pulled and tugged, but the knots would not yield. Smoke made his cartoonish face wince, his wooden nose twitching with discomfort. His eyebrows furrowed in frustration as time slipped away. Then he had an idea. He stretched his elongated arm toward a sharp shard of broken wood from the collapsed roof. With effort, he snapped it free and began sawing clumsily at the rope. Sparks popped nearby, embers landing on his smooth wooden shoulders. He slapped them away in panic, his polished light orange texture darkened by soot. But he did not stop cutting. Finally, with a sudden snap, the rope gave way. The horse jolted forward, nearly knocking the creature off his feet. He stumbled, his slouched frame tumbling awkwardly, but somehow managed to stay upright. The horse was free but not safe yet. Flames had spread to the walls and rafters, and the barn groaned as if it were about to collapse. The creature slapped the horse's side with his long hand, urging it toward the door. The animal bolted forward, but the path was blocked again by burning debris. Together they would have to find a way through. The freed horse lunged forward, but its path was immediately cut off by a wall of burning timbers. The collapsed roof had created a fiery barrier across the barn's center aisle, blocking the way to the door. The flames roared higher, fed by the dry hay scattered across the floor. Heat surged outward, wrapping the air in waves that made even the wooden creature's grain shimmer. He panicked for a moment, his big droopy eyes widening, cartoon mouth twisting in fear. He knew fire was death for him. His polished orange wood would ignite if he made the wrong move. But the horse stomped desperately, neighing, its nostrils flaring with smoke. The sound cut through his fear, forcing him to act. The creature scanned the barn, his curved eyebrows lifting as he noticed a gap near the far side. A broken stall wall had created an opening into a storage area where the fire hadn't spread as fast. He pointed with his long thin arm, urging the horse toward it. At first, the animal hesitated, too overwhelmed by the flames. So the wooden creature shuffled forward himself, his oversized cartoon feet thumping the floor, showing the way. Step by step, the horse followed, its muscles trembling with fear. The wooden creature's body slouched but moved with purpose, his hands swatting away sparks as they rained down. Smoke clawed at his eyes, making them tear up, but he pressed on. Just as they neared the side opening, another crash shook the barn. A burning rafter fell, landing between them and their only escape route. Fire climbed greedily along its length, blocking the path in seconds. The creature froze, his heart dropping into despair. But then, he remembered the beam he had moved at the doorway. His arms were long. His body, while fragile, could still exert surprising strength. He stepped forward, wrapping his 5-fingered hands around the burning rafter. The heat scorched, but he pushed with all his strength. His polished texture darkened and smoked, but finally, with a loud crack, the rafter rolled aside just enough for the horse to squeeze through. The horse bolted, muscles rippling as it dashed into the storage space. The creature stumbled after it, smoke curling off his singed wooden arms. He glanced back at the flames now devouring the main barn aisle, and for the first time, realized how close he had come to being burned alive. Inside the storage area, the fire had not yet spread as fiercely. The horse stood trembling, sides heaving, sweat glistening against its coat. It pawed the ground nervously, eyes flicking toward the flames still raging nearby. The creature slouched against a wall, wooden chest heaving as if he were breathing hard, though no lungs filled him. His cartoon mouth hung open, droopy eyes blinking through the haze of smoke. For a moment, both rescuer and rescued simply stared at each other. The horse, wild with panic moments ago, now lowered its head slightly. It was as if it understood that this odd wooden being had risked his very existence for it. The creature tilted his head, eyebrows lifting into a softer curve, his goofy yet melancholic face showing a strange tenderness. But there was no time to linger. The barn groaned ominously, beams snapping like bones. Flames clawed at the walls of the storage area, beginning to spread toward the hay bales stacked high. If they didn't escape now, this small pocket of safety would vanish. The creature shuffled closer to the horse, resting his long wooden hand gently against its neck. The horse flinched at first but didn't pull away. With his other hand he pointed again toward the main doorway. Though blocked earlier, there might still be a chance to clear the way. Together, they moved cautiously back into the burning aisle. The creature's oversized feet kicked aside glowing embers while his thin arms shielded his face. The horse walked close behind him, relying on his strange guidance. For all his awkward slouch and silly appearance, the wooden creature moved with surprising bravery. At last, the doorway came into view, but flames raged across it. Smoke billowed outward in choking clouds. The creature knew he could not move another burning rafter alone. He would have to find another way to break through. He scanned desperately, eyes darting. His gaze fell on a pile of water buckets stacked near the wall. They were old, dented, and some already filled with dirty water from the trough. An idea struck him. Risky, perhaps impossible, but their only hope. The creature stumbled toward the buckets, his oversized wooden feet clattering against the floor. He grabbed one with his long hands and heaved it up, sloshing the dirty water across the flames, licking the doorway. Steam hissed and rose, momentarily shrinking the fire. Encouraged, he seized another, throwing it wildly. The water barely covered part of the blaze, but it was enough to weaken it. The horse stood back, eyes fixed on the strange sight of this awkward wooden being battling fire with buckets. The creature worked frantically, his droopy eyes squinting against the smoke, cartoon mouth grimacing as his arms pumped back and forth. Each bucket made the fire shrink a little until at last, a narrow gap appeared in the doorway. But then came a crash. The loft above collapsed, sending more burning debris onto the pile. The flames roared back, stronger than before. The creature froze, despair flooding his expression. His eyebrows drooped in defeat, shoulders sagging. Was it all for nothing? The horse neighed loudly, stomping its hooves. It charged forward suddenly, muscles surging with strength. Lowering its head, it rammed into the weakened doorway. The wooden planks splintered under its force, collapsing outward. Smoke billowed into the open air beyond, and through the gap, the cool night sky gleamed like salvation. The creature blinked, stunned. Then his mouth curved into a goofy, relieved smile. The horse had done what he could not. Without wasting another second, the wooden creature gestured wildly with his long arms, urging the horse to run through. The doorway was finally open, jagged but wide enough for escape. The horse bolted through first, leaping into the cool night air, its coat glistening with sweat and soot. The wooden creature stumbled after it, slouching forward, oversized feet slapping the dirt as he crossed the threshold. The rush of fresh air hit him like a wave. Stars twinkled overhead, and the smell of grass replaced the suffocating smoke. But behind him, the barn roared like a dying beast, its timbers collapsing in showers of sparks. He turned just in time to see the roof cave inward, flames devouring everything. The creature's droopy eyes softened. He had made it out alive, and more importantly so had the horse. The animal stood in the field, sides heaving, mane wild but alive. For a moment the two simply looked at each other, united by survival. The fields were eerily quiet now, except for the crackle of the barn burning behind them. Fire cast a harsh glow over the meadow, while the cool night wind rustled through the wheat. The horse pawed the earth nervously, looking back at its destroyed home. The wooden creature slouched beside it, his eyes reflecting the flames. His cartoon mouth curled downward in melancholy. He had saved the horse, but the barn was lost. He wondered what the humans would think when they returned. Would they see him as a hero, or blame him, this strange log-like being, for meddling? The horse nudged him softly, breaking his gloomy thoughts. Its large eyes met his, and in that gaze, the creature felt gratitude deeper than words. His curved eyebrows lifted slightly, forming a tender expression. He patted the horse's neck with his long wooden hand, soot crumbling from his surface with every motion. Hours passed and the fire finally began to die. Smoke drifted into the starry sky, leaving blackened ruins where the barn once stood. The horse lay resting in the grass, while the creature sat nearby, his oversized feet stretched out before him. His posture slouched as always, but there was something different in his expression, a quiet pride. When dawn arrived, soft golden light spilled across the meadow. Birds returned, chirping cautiously as if testing the silence. The horse stirred awake, shaking its mane free of ash. The wooden creature rose awkwardly to his feet, stretching his thin arms, and looked to the horizon. For all his melancholy, he knew this night would be remembered. The sun climbed higher, painting the world in warmth. Farmers eventually came, shocked by the ruins but amazed to find their horse alive and unharmed. The strange wooden creature lingered in the field, half hiding behind the wheat, unsure if he should stay. Humans often misunderstood him. But the horse made the choice for him. It trotted forward, neighing softly, and pressed its head against the creature's wooden chest. His slouched body stiffened, then softened. His droopy eyes blinked, thick eyebrows lifting as his cartoon mouth curved into a goofy, heartfelt smile. The bond was unspoken but real. Though the barn was gone, something stronger had been built, a trust between creature and horse, forged in the heart of fire.